Most of us learn about the world through neatly colored, static rectangles on a classroom wall. Those flat shapes suggest geography is fixed and finished. In reality, Earth is a chaotic, three-dimensional system of moving parts that rarely follow the lines we've drawn for them. Deep in the Peruvian Amazon, the Chennai-Tempishka River flows at temperatures near 200 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a 4-mile stretch of water so hot it literally cooks any animal alive that falls into its currents. Volcanic activity typically causes this heat, yet the nearest volcano is 400 miles away. The answer lies underground. Fault lines act like a chimney, pulling geothermal heat from deep mantle springs directly up to the riverbed, heating the water from below. A standard map can represent the river's location, but it can't account for the massive geothermal plumbing systems hidden just beneath the soil. It shows us a surface, but ignores the volatile engine driving it. We are taught that the world is divided into 7 rigid continents, but that list only includes the land masses high enough to see. Human mapmakers actually missed an entire continent until 2017. If we spin the globe to the South Pacific and begin draining the water, we reveal Zealandia. It is a massive landmass twice the size of India that has been hiding in plain sight beneath the ocean. Zealandia broke away from Australia 85 million years ago and slowly sank. Today, 94% of the continent is submerged, with only the highest mountain peaks, like New Zealand, remaining above the waves. Looking at this photograph of Mount Everest, the terrain looks like a permanent fixture, but the mountain is actually growing about 4 millimeters taller every year. Since it was first summited in 1953, it has risen over 20 centimeters. This growth is the result of the Indian tectonic plate slamming into the Eurasian plate. The pressure of this collision is so intense that it is physically forcing the world's highest peak further into the sky. In this photo of the Sahara, the sand dunes dominate the frame, but the small patch of grass is a reminder of a radical shift. Just 10,000 years ago, a tilt in the Earth's orbit transformed this desert into a lush landscape of rivers and lakes. Land masses are not static puzzle pieces. Across geological time, they are constantly sinking, rising, and shifting between fertile paradises and extreme deserts. On a 2D map, the ocean is a flat, uniform blue space. This perspective ignores the fact that there are fully functioning topographic systems operating thousands of feet below the surface. Deep beneath the Black Sea, there is a massive underwater river. It has its own riverbanks, rapids, and even waterfalls. If it were on the surface, it would be the 6th largest river in the world by volume. This river is created by density. Highly salty water from the Mediterranean is heavier than the water in the Black Sea, so it sinks to the bottom and flows like a heavy current along the seafloor. You can see the effects of that salt density in this photograph of the Dead Sea. The woman is floating so high on the surface that she can easily read a newspaper without getting it wet. The Dead Sea is a hypersaline lake, nearly 10 times saltier than the ocean. This extreme concentration of salt makes the water so dense that it is physically impossible for a person to dive beneath the surface. Uniform blue shading on a map obscures the density and hidden topography that actually drive these water cycles. To understand the ocean, you have to look at it as a layered, three-dimensional system. Humans try to manage the planet's chaos by overlaying a grid of borders and time zones. However, these administrative lines are constantly at war with the physical reality of the terrain. This map shows how China spans 5 distinct geographical time zones. Yet the entire country operates on one single time zone based in Beijing, effectively forcing the clocks to ignore the position of the sun. This creates a surreal daily routine in the west of the country. In some cities, the sun doesn't rise until hours after the workday has officially begun on the clock. We also try to enforce physical lines through impossible wilderness. The border between Sweden and Norway is a prime example of a human line cut through a landscape that doesn't want it there. To mark the boundary, a 6-meter-wide gap was cleared through 2,000 kilometers of dense forest. It is a perfectly straight, unnatural line that is clearly visible from space, slicing through thousands of miles of pine trees. Sometimes the environment is so aggressive it forces us into a single point. In Whittier, Alaska, the winter is so brutal that the entire town's population of 200 residents lives inside this one 14-story building. where they have their own school, grocery store, and church under one roof. Our administrative grids and time zones are constantly struggling against the physical landscape. In extreme environments, geography dictates the rules of survival, and we are forced to adapt just to keep the lights on. Geography isn't a collection of facts to be memorized from a textbook. It is a volatile, ongoing geological process that is rewriting the surface of our world every single day. The borders we draw and the continents we name are just temporary snapshots. They represent the world as it looks right now, not as it is destined to stay. The next time you look at a globe, try to see past the colored ink. Look for the hidden rivers flowing beneath the seabed, the continents sinking into the Pacific, and the mountains being pushed higher into the sky. Earth is a massive, living engine. It is infinitely more active and far more mysterious than any human map can ever capture.